Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. You're watching NDTV. The Centre has implemented the Citizenship Amendment Act 2019, notifying the rules 4 years after the Parliament passed the law, days before the year's Lok Sabha election. Now, in 2019, the law had sparked widespread protests nationwide. The government now, in fact, has put out a point-by-point rebuttal on CAA critique. It has said that CAA has nothing to do with native Indian minorities. It says that CAA reduces the wait period of Indian citizenship for persecuted minorities from 11 years to just 5 years. And no Indian citizen has to produce any document to prove his or her citizenship. That's what the government's rebuttal says. It also says that there is no bar on Muslims seeking Indian citizenship. Now, remember, many opposition parties had criticized the amendments to the Citizenship Act, labeling it as discriminatory and also exclusionary. Some may also feel that the move is BJP checking yet another box on its 2019 manifesto. But the timing of this announcement has its own electoral, ideological and social calculations. In fact, the BJP says it is a civilizational commitment. According to Ministry of Home Affairs, at least 30,000 persecuted minorities such as Hindus, Buddhists, Jains, Parsis, Sikhs and Christians from Pakistan, Afghanistan and Bangladesh could benefit from the new law. The Matua communities in Bongaon, Ranaghat and Hooghly were seen celebrating after their long-term demand for Citizenship Amendment Act was implemented yesterday, and so were the Pakistani Hindu refugees in Rajasthan and also Delhi. Now, the opposition and many other experts have pointed to how amendments to the Act making religion a primary determinant of citizenship goes against the spirit of Indian Constitution. Despite the government making it clear that the CAA has nothing to do with Indian Muslims, many point to apprehensions around NPR and NRC. This, even as blasphemy laws in countries such as Pakistan have only been strengthened and weaponized against minorities. In fact, at the UNHRC meeting last year, India openly accused Pakistan of failing to protect the rights of its ethnic and religious minorities. So that is what we will discuss tonight. In a world where fear and persecution often victimize minority communities, is the Citizenship Amendment Act a beacon of light, offering relief to those who have faced discrimination and oppression in their own countries? Should it be viewed from a historical perspective or from the prism of constitutional morality? Will it deepen fault lines in our society? Joining me is a panel of experts, but first, let's look at some reactions.
हमने कहा था हम CAA लाएंगे. कांग्रेस पार्टी CAA का विरोध करती थी. आजादी के वक्त से कांग्रेस पार्टी और हमारे संविधान निर्माताओं का वादा था कि बांग्लादेश, अफगानिस्तान और पाकिस्तान से जो शरणार्थी आएंगे, जो वहां की प्रताड़ना झेल कर आएंगे, उसको हम नागरिकता देंगे. मगर तुष्टीकरण की, वोट बैंक की राजनीति के कारण कांग्रेस पार्टी इसका विरोध करती थी.
এবার যে ইলেকশনের আগে প্রতারণা, ছলনা, বঞ্চনা, নাগরিক অধিকার কেড়ে নেবার চক্রান্ত চলছে, তার সম্বন্ধে একটা কথা বলি, ভালো করে কান দিয়ে শুনুন, কাজে লাগবে. এটা হচ্ছে বিজেপির লুডো খেলার ছক্কা. রাজনীতির আগে ভাবছে আমি করলাম ছক্কা, অ্যাকচুয়াল কিন্তু ওটা হচ্ছে পুট, অর্থাৎ শূন্য.
So joining me now are Guru Prakash Paswan of the BJP, Raju Datta of the TMC and Khushbu Jain, who is an advocate at the Supreme Court. Starting with you, Ms. Jain, how do you look at the Citizenship Amendment Act, the new rules that have been notified? How do you see them fast tracking the citizenship process of persecuted minorities? And what was it earlier and what is it now?
Okay. So to start with, the background of the act, if I have to go through, it says that there are certain population of minorities in the Islamic state, state like Pakistan, Bangladesh, which were being reduced considerably over the years. And because of that persecution, they were forced to either change their religion or were forced to flee to India. Now, those who have fled to India up till 2014 is where we are saying that we are going to grant them citizenship. We have to look into the aspect of our history, how we've been divided based on religion, how these countries have been divided based on religion, and how these other two states, their constitution basically speaks that it's not a secular state, but it's a Muslim state. Their religion is Muslim. And that's where all these minorities such as Hindu, Sikh, Jain, Parsis were being persecuted, and number considerably kept coming down. Now, the people who have fled from India, the one who have changed, but the people who fled from India is the one where we have bring in a special act. This special act is something which is talking about the scenarios to fast track, that there would be a place where they can file an application for registration to become take citizenship of India. They can take an oath of allegiance, and once the application has been submitted, that's where the empowered committee at the district level will be notified to the central government. After that submission, this will be generated electronically and they will be granted citizenship. I would come on the point, but I think we are going ahead with the show that what are the reservations which have been there among people.
No, I'll come to you. I'll come to you on that. But you've explained that process so well, Guru. You have also talked about many state-sponsored atrocities on the SE community in Pakistan. In fact, you talk about Jogendranath Mandal, one of the key architects of Pakistan, who served as the Minister for Law, himself talking about this. Now, this is happening even as your party is talking about Sandesh Khali in Bengal. Now, political gains aside, how is your party looking at the social impact of CAA and the criticism that this may not be in line with constitutional morality?
No, Vasudha, I think you have brought a very interesting and less discussed, unfortunately very less discussed dimension to this entire issue of citizenship. We must understand that every single data, every single report suggests that the number of Hindus in Pakistan, like Khushbu also pointed out, that 27% in 1947. They have gone down to 2%, less than 2%. Where have they all gone? Who were these people? This is beyond my comprehension. 25% of a population has gone. Where have they disappeared? So I think it is very important for us to understand that the people who were left behind, Vasudha, people who had the wherewithal, people who had the resources, they shifted their base to India. They sold their properties and came to India. People who were left behind, and this is a report by a leading newspaper of our country, that 85% of people who were left behind in Pakistan were coming from the scheduled caste communities. Meghwal Samaj, Ot Samaj, Valmiki Samaj. There are reports to suggest that the elite leadership of Pakistan suggested that even if the Dalit, they go to India, who is going to clean our toilets? So today is a very important day. And I'm unfortunately very surprised that Mr. Rahul Gandhi, who will go in a press conference and openly ask about the caste of the media person, is not asking about the caste of the people who are left behind.
Okay, let me ask this question to Riju Datta.
It is a remarkable
Riju, thank you
day.
for waiting. Several undocumented migrants have talked about the persecution they face in Bangladesh, something that Guru also talked about. Now, TMC Supremo and West Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee, in fact, is doing a roadshow in Siliguri tomorrow opposing the CAA NRC. She has, in fact, asked a very interesting question. She has asked the Mathua community if they have Aadhaar cards, if they have jobs and property. And so why not citizenship, because it's yet another cover of protection and dignity, isn't it?
Look, first of all, I want to say it on record that my heart goes out to all the minorities that have been prosecuted in Islamic countries. Pakistan is a terror state. Pakistan prosecutes minority Hindus, and there is no doubt in it. But what about the rights of minorities in my country? Forget Pakistan and Bangladesh. This CAA that has been launched just 3-4 days before the Lok Sabha elections is unconstitutional, anti-Muslim and undemocratic. It is a sucker punch to the basic tenets of the constitution. It is a carrot and stick policy of the BJP to misguide, deceive and fool the people of this country. You, Vasudha, asked me about the Mathua community.
Yes.
I have a very clear question to my very dear friend Guru here, that if Mathuas in Bengal have got their voter cards, they can vote. They have voted for a BJP candidate, a Mathua candidate called Shantanu Thakur, who has won the elections, who sits in the Lok Sabha and is the shipping minister in the Narendra Modi's cabinet. then what more citizenship can you give him? Are you saying the shipping minister of India is not a citizen of India? Or are you saying the people who have voted for him, made him a Lok Sabha member and a cabinet minister subsequently are not citizens of India?
Right.
Look, we have got precedents of what happened in Assam. This CAA is a pretense to the NRC to snatch away rights of the citizens of this country. And in Bengal, we will oppose CAA and NRC. We will not implement it here, no matter what.
Guru, would you like to respond
Bengal,
to that? He is
asking
this question that Jagannath Sarkar or Shantanu Thakur, who represent the Mathua communities, are actually part of, the establishment now. They're lawmakers now. So what more is citizenship going to add to their dignity or, for that matter, their contribution to society?
No, Vasudha, I think it is very important for us to acknowledge the level of misinformation campaign being led by a section of opposition parties, including my dear friend Riju's party, TMC. He used certain words, unconstitutional, undemocratic, anti-minority. I respectfully disagree, and I respectfully challenge my friend Riju Datta to give me one line, to give me one provision, to give me one word from the Citizenship Amendment Act or the CAA rules that suggest that it is undemocratic, that suggests that it is anti-minority, that suggests that it is unconstitutional. Nowhere it is mentioned, not a single place where it is mentioned that it is going to debar, it is going to disallow any person from X community, any person from Y community. Then why create this fear psychosis? This is beyond my comprehension.
Okay, we're talking about exceptions here. Riju, I'll just come to you in a minute. Ms. Jain, I was looking at the new rules, and the CAA has also excluded Ahmadiyas, Shias, Hazaras, etc. on grounds that persecution arising out of, a political or religious movements cannot be equated with religious persecution, systemic religious persecution that happens on minorities in some countries. Now, similarly, you have cases like Rohingyas, Tibetan Buddhists, and also Sri Lankan Tamils, which have also been excluded from CAA. So, merely classifying religious persecution in countries with a straight religion, doesn't that bring in discrimination? Because this clearly doesn't seem to be a law that's looking at addressing, all problems of minorities.
See, we have to very clearly understand what Constitution says. The principle, if equality does not mean that every law has to be universal, has to have a universal application. The principle of equality does not take away the power of the state to make any classification based on certain things. Coming to an aspect of, others being left out or others not being granted that, nobody stops to bring in such laws and to bring in such more acts in place if something like that has been looked into. But something which has been bought today, I am amazed and I'm shocked and I'm appalled that something which is being done to the people who have been deprived. And I'm again saying that you have to look into the history of our country. These three countries were being there was a religious aspect to it, and you have to see the facts, the numbers, and looking at that, if we are coming to a situation where we are creating a law which is conferred to benefit on identified class of people who have been suffering, and to give them that, to instead of condemning.
Let me ask this to Riju Datta. Sir, a straight question to you. Do you see the SC community in Bengal becoming a strong pocket of influence of the BJP, and that your party may have to ensure that it is not seen as anti-Dalit or anti-Hindu, especially in the aftermath of Sandesh Khali? Do you see this as a threat or a concern?
Sandesh Khali matter has become a non-issue now. It is a closed chapter. All the primary accused are behind bars. But the primary accused, Shah Jahan, is in CBI custody. So BJP is trying to keep the pot boiling because they have no issue for Bengal politics. Anyways, coming back to CAA, which is the topic of discussion. Again, I will ask this question to your viewers. When this online registration is going on, say for example, a ST or a Mathua or a Rajvanshi in Bengal has got voter card, who has voting rights. His son is born in India, he's studying in a school in India. He has got a job in a government service in India and he's working as a government servant. Now, as soon as he applies, automatically he becomes an illegal immigrant. Why will people do this? They are already citizens of this country. In Assam, 12 lakh Hindus are in detention camps. We will not have detention camps in Bengal. And lastly, to the honorable advocate here, if my heart goes out to the prosecuted Hindus of Bangladesh, prosecuted Hindus of Pakistan and Afghanistan, and rightfully so, what about the prosecuted Tamil Hindus who are being prosecuted.
Okay,
in a Buddhist country
Khushbu, I'll
called
just
Sri
come to you.
Lanka.
But Guru, I also wanted to, understand. Many have also said that if this was all about providing relief to the persecuted minorities, the state could have empowered bureaucrats. Would you say that in this whole cacophony of anti-CAA protests, the government actually chose to wait for another 4 years to take a call on this?
No, I think, Vasudha, see, we are an active democracy and election cycle is always on. And that is the reason why Honorable Prime Minister is suggesting one nation, one election, so that we are not just held up in this argument of making any policy decision and there will be allegation that this policy decision was made in pursuance of, in effect, of a general election. So this is just not done. Any policy decision you take in this country, there is some Vidhan Sabha Chunav going on, there is some Lok Sabha election going on. So it is very impractical to suggest that any X, Y, Z policy decision is influenced by any election.
Okay.
That is just a very, that argument doesn't hold water. Second, my friend Riju Datta is suggesting that Sandesh Khali is a done and dusted case. I respectfully disagree, Riju, women from SC/ST communities, women from Adivasi communities, they have
I'm running out of time. Thank you, Guru. Thank you, Riju Datta. And thank you, Ms. Jains, for joining us on this debate and sharing your insights. Thank you so much.